welcome folks. Mil-Spec Ops Monkey here. This is going to be a drop-in sit rep for Tuesday, 2/8/22. Typically don't do these unless I see some things going on that I want to get the information out quickly. This is going to be a short one. Just want to point out some data points because I think the Ukraine area is about to go hot, and we've got some indicators that would kind of support that, okay? Also, I'm seeing some movements into the Middle East as well as Asia, and I want you guys to just be aware of that because it looks like we are spread thin on many fronts right now, okay? All right, let's hop over here to Spyglass real fast. Now, you will notice the board looks pretty blank and empty. We got a spar flight kind of in the general region, but for the most part, there's really nothing going on, which is a very ominous kind of look, okay? Typically, when we get into these, we're going to notice that there are pretty much a metric ton of R135s and spycraft over that region, just gathering data every single day. And today there's nothing, which I find very interesting. That means they probably have figured out exactly where everything is. They're getting their people out, and they're trying to get this thing, done before probably the next 24, 48 hours, because I think that's probably the window that we're looking at. Now, one thing I do want to point out, you guys will see Air Force One is out doing some touch and goes. That has nothing to do with Flashbang. He's not out and about. There are no TFRs to actually even support anything over that Ohio-Dayton area for touch and goes, okay? So if you see it, hear anybody talking about it, it's a nothing thing, okay? A lot of trainer activity going on right now, all around kind of up here near Pax River, here in Pensacola area, and then down here, Corpus Christi, all the way up to Oklahoma. That's kind of skewing our numbers, okay? 315 are total. And you do have quite a bit of H-60 activity up here in the Northeast right now, but nothing really out of the norm here in the U.S. Now, that's not really what this one's about. What I'm really about is looking at the Ukraine stuff, okay? Now, typically, we bump over here to flight radar, and I look and see if there are any flights people are watching, and we usually see Forte 12, which is going to be that Q4 Global Hawk that's in that general region. Not there today, okay? What we do have is a flight, a very small flight, leaving out of Kiev. It looks like to be a U.S. Army asset, BE-20, basically rolling out of the area from the Ukraine. So somebody's getting pulled out, probably in there doing a little bit of last-minute stuff before they boogie, okay? So, Brio. Typically, this is one of those surveillance ones. We see it up there every single day. Nothing today. It's been really, really quiet. Now, let's talk about the movements. You look at the Royal Air Force, UK. They got a lot of assets on the move, but most of it, if you'll notice, is headed into the Middle East, okay? So we do have one exfil right here coming out of Kiev, and that looks to be pulling people probably out of their embassy. I highly doubt they're putting any type of equipment in the Ukraine because that stuff will get spent pretty quickly. So it'd be kind of stupid to put everything into a war zone if you're not leading the war, right? So, but I just want to point that out, okay? And I'm seeing the same thing with the U.S. assets, all right? So you'll notice we got Bahrain here coming out, and then Kuwait also coming out. So for some reason, we are loading stuff into that general region. And then we've got some other flights leaving from Dover headed over across the drink eastbound, okay? All right, now get over here to Omni. Same thing, indicator. This is going to be troop movements. This is going to be Fort Worth Alliance headed over to Pope Army Airfield. That's Fayetteville, North Carolina, probably tied into Fort Bragg. And then we got this one that rolled out of Seattle, Tacoma, headed to Asia. That's probably about the 15th or 20th flight I've seen in the last 10 days headed to Asia, okay? All right. Now, let's get over, I just want to show you Biggs Army Airfield where it has slowed down quite a bit. We got an inbound flight from Seattle coming in from Boeing Field, and then we've got this outbound flight that's a camber flight that's going to be troops rolling out to Fort Worth Alliance, and then from there it'll probably boogie across the drink, okay? One of the data points I want to point out too is I got this from one of my followers that's up there in Fort Lawson Woods, Missouri, Fort Leonard Wood region. And they had a train going behind their house headed eastbound, and I just want to show you the assets that are on there. Note the color of the equipment. A lot of it is sandbox color, okay, which would indicate more than likely this train is headed out to the East Coast. It'll be loaded up and flown over to Kuwait or somewhere. Looking at the equipment, I don't see any tanks or anything like that. This looks to be some type of forward operation setup equipment, right? It's all the stuff like the water trucks and the ground movers and things, that kind of stuff, the heavy equipment stuff moving in where they're going to establish a forward operating base. Okay, so that is just another data point. And then, of course, I want to show you the Kiev side. Remember, I said when this starts to slow down, pay close attention, because when the flight board empties out of the commercial flights, it's going to be a pretty good indicator things are going off. Okay. So what I do want to show you is, you'll notice these blanks where there's not really an aircraft type tied into these. These right here, departures, are all military. That's the French, the CTM4 and 1. That's going to be France. Duke 89, we just looked at that one on the board. Then this Royal Air Force, another one, looks to be pulling people out of their embassies and getting them out of the country. So we're starting to see that take shape. All right, so another pretty good indicator that things are going to go hot. So anyway, just wanted you guys to be aware of that. If we look at the flights in the region from a commercial standpoint, I also want to show you how this general area. Now remember, Russia's got assets up in Belarus, and we know they've got the S-400 surface-to-air missile system, which will take planes right out of the sky. You will notice as you go north, there's really no air traffic up here in Belarus at all. In the Ukraine, it's also really not too much to speak of. We've got a handful of flights coming in and out. This is going to be your Black Sea area. This is the Soviet Union or Russia. Lots of flights over there. But when you get into this general area, Ukraine and Belarus, you're going to notice a pretty big gap in flights. So again, these are all data points. Just wanted to get this out there to you. I told you this is going to be short. I'll come back tomorrow. We'll take a deeper look as we get into our regular Wednesday sit rep. So that's it, folks. Listen, be safe out there. Stay frosty. God bless. Monkey out.
Check out the latest gear and products at monkeyworxus.com.